Hi! On the Woodpecker today, I'm making this gate. I need a metal gate at my cottage. The first thing I do is draw something to see what it will look like and if it will be okay. And here's what I came up with. This should be perfect. But I need to do it now. The first thing I do after receiving the metal is to cut the big square tubing to the length I need. Now that it's done, I need to make this cut. The first part of the cut is made with my metal miter saw. But I'm super careful not to cut too much. The rest is cut with an L grinder. Then I need to make sure the flat part is really flat. Next, I can weld the big pieces together. Okay, I will spare you the lesson on how to weld. I know my welding is not the best. Pierre, who came here to try to teach me how to do a better job, wouldn't be proud of me right now. But in my defense, Pierre said that with such thin metal, it would have been better with a MIG welding machine, because I wouldn't so easily go through the metal. But I continue anyway, and in the end, I have two L shapes. But now I need to try to make this look a bit nicer. Not an easy job. And I still need 4 braces. The first thing to do is cut them. When I have all the pieces, it's time to weld them in place. But I'm not done yet. I need to weld a round piece on top. You'll see what it's for later on. I also need to make the locking mechanism. After a little bit of grinding, I'm ready to spray paint. One thing I can say is that spray painting is way easier than welding. While I'm spraying, René brushes some paint on the round posts. But it's not done yet. I need a nice wooden handle. I'm going to use some cedar leftovers. After finding the center, I remove the corners. I put that on the lathe and turn it round. By the way, you better appreciate this small wooden intermission, because it will be the last time that I touch wood during the whole project. When I have a nice cylinder, I drill a hole for the threaded rod I'm going to use. I finish the shape that I want and glue this with the threaded rod. Okay, I used too much epoxy. In the end, so much spilled all over the place that when the epoxy is dry, I have to sand the handle again. Now I can apply 2 coats of exterior varnish. And we're finally ready to bring this to the cottage. As usual, we don't travel light. I have the gate in the pickup and 15 cement bags. And this is without everything we need for the month we'll spend there. When we are ready to start the work, I cut the top of the broken barrel I removed from our floating dock because I need a container to get some sand to make the gates concrete. It's very easy to fill it with sand. And again, I have the easy job. Yes, because René is handpicking the rocks we'll need for our concrete. And this is long. Each rock is picked by hand, one by one. When I'm done with the sand, I come to help. We spend the next 2 hours handpicking rocks. We end up with 25 buckets full of rocks. Here we can see them better. If I look at my tires, I need to empty the pickup right now. When all the buckets are on the ground, I shovel 2/3 of the sand that's inside the barrel to make it light enough for me to roll it out of the truck. Now we have to move the mixer near the gate. Ah yes, this tub is made of cast iron and it's quite heavy. But it's much easier to move than the rest of the mixer. With its weird shape, it makes it hard to move it around. But we managed anyway. Now it's time to put it back together again. But our holes are full of water. We need to empty them. This is perfect because we need water for the concrete. We can put the first post in place and lock it with a couple of rocks. After sliding the gate over the post, I can pound a stake to hold this side straight. But it's beginning to rain a bit too much, so we have to stop for the rest of the day. The next morning, we put the other side in place. It's quite obvious that it's too high compared to the other side. So, using the post itself, I pound on the rocks we dropped into the hole until the post is leveled with the other side of the gate. Now that both sides are on the same height, we can slide my homemade barrel bolt in place. Now we have to, like we did on the other side, tie that down so it's leveled. When it's done, I check again to make sure the lock still works. And since it's perfect, we can start to make the concrete. We begin by filling both small holes, which will hold the chain to brace the gate. This goes quite fast, because there's not a lot of concrete in each one. Only 2.5 cubic feet each. Then the two big holes. Each one has 5 cubic feet of concrete. But now that it's done, comes the most unpleasant part of the job. Cleaning the mixer and the tools. The next day, we're super careful when we remove one side of the gate. Yes, because we need some space to bring everything back to the cottage. After waiting another day, I can remove the excess from the culvert while René starts to paint the posts. Yes, because at home we just applied 2 coats of primer. So when René is done, the two of us put both sides of the gate in place and paint them. When the paint is dry, we put the chain that helps keep this from pulling down in the center. Then we brush a second coat. And we don't forget the final touches. The nice cedar handle. But the most important things are the reflectors. I don't want any nosy people who have no reason to be here at night on their ATVs, hitting our nice gate. When all of them are in place, well, our gate is finished. Even if the welding is not the greatest, the final product is not that bad. I know there wasn't a lot of woodworking in this episode, but I promise you'll have more in the next episode of the Woodpecker. I don't want any nosy people who have no reason to be here at night on their ATVs